Chapter 1. The Beginning of the Road. The wind was tearing the night apart. The narrow road stretching across the steppe was shrouded in fog more than it was illuminated by the moonlight. The fog felt almost alive, wriggling, filling your lungs with every deep breath, knotting in your throat like a ghost. The echo of your footsteps on the ground sounded as if the road itself was speaking to you. Suddenly, you found yourself alone in the middle of this road. You didn't know where you had come from, nor where you were going. It was as if all the memories of your life had been slowly pulled from your mind. The only thing you knew was that you had to keep walking, because your feet didn't obey you, they carried you to your right. The dark side of the steppe stretched endlessly, while to your left stood nearly motionless, withered trees. Their trunks were pitch black, their branches twisted toward the sky like fingers. In the deep grooves of each trunk, you could see shapes that almost resembled human faces. The longer you stared, the more those faces seemed to move. Some were crying, some shouting, and some silently watching you. And then you realized they were looking at you. Chapter 2. The call of the steppes as you continued along the winding road. Something changed. The fog grew denser. Seeing ahead became nearly impossible. Yet, a light shone in the distance, a warm orange glow piercing through the mist. Was it the window of a house, or a lantern left at the side of the road? Your feet pulled you toward it, and a strange feeling welled up inside you. Was it fear, curiosity, or a mix of both? With every step, your heart thumped harder in your chest. Then, when you reached the light, you saw a small cabin rising from the fog. A lantern flickered at its doorstep, almost extinguished. The glass was cracked, the light trembling, yet still alive. A rusty plaque hung above the door. In old lettering, it read, "Welcome the coming, bid farewell to the leaving." The door was ajar. From inside came a faint crackling like firewood burning. Yet strangely, no smoke rose from the chimney. Chapter 3. Entering inside. When you pushed the door, the creak of the hinges sliced through the silence of the night. The moment you stepped inside, you felt time shift. The cabin contained old furniture, a warped chair in the corner, and cobwebs hanging from the ceiling. Your eyes were drawn to the frames on the walls. Each one held a different face. Strangers, men, women, children. Yet there was a strange detail. All of them had their eyes closed. At that moment, you noticed a notebook on the table in the center of the cabin. Its cover was bound in leather, with worn golden letters. A single word, you. Opening it, your gaze fell on a sentence on the first page that made you shiver. Welcome. You are very late. Chapter 4. Secrets of the Notebook. Your fingers began to turn the pages of the notebook. On each page were short sentences written in black ink. They seemed like unfinished stories. She got lost in the night. She never returned. She waited, but no one came. She left without leaving a trace. As you flipped the pages quickly, you suddenly stopped. There, you saw your own name. It was written in large letters in the middle of the notebook. Beneath it, a note had been left. The traveler of the road will be completed with you. Your heart began to race. Questions you had no answers for rose within you. Who had written this? How did they know you? And most importantly, what did completed mean? Then, the silence inside the cabin was broken. Even before you turned around, you noticed a shadow had moved. Chapter 5. The guest in the corner of the cabin. A stir in the darkness caught your attention. At first you thought it was an illusion. Your eyes, the fog, and your fatigue playing tricks on you. But no. The shadow was really moving. You realized the fire wasn't burning. The crackling you had heard was actually an echo that hadn't existed before you entered. At that moment, the shadow stepped forward with heavy steps. It was a man, or the remnant of one. His coat was torn. Deep lines carved his face, and his eyes were empty. His pupils were almost colorless, yet he saw you. He was definitely seeing you. He leaned toward you. His breath was heavy, like the muted exhale of someone who hadn't spoken for years. Finally, words came from his mouth. You found the notebook, so the road is yours now. Chapter the 6th. The offer. The man sank into a chair, as if someone he had been waiting for years had finally arrived. He looked into your eyes and continued speaking. Every traveler comes here, but only a few can open the notebook. You opened it. That means you now face two choices. Either you finish the rest of the road alone, or you awaken one of the faces here. You turned your gaze toward the frames on the walls. The faces, eyes closed, grew even more distinct in the darkness. For a moment, you thought you heard a faint breath from within the frames. It was as if these people were not sleeping. They were merely waiting. The man whispered. Each face was once a traveler. They made a choice and stayed here. He looked at you and asked, and you, which path will you choose? Chapter 7. Awakening. The eyes. You considered the options, walking alone, or awakening one of the faces in the frames. But whichever you chose, you felt that something irreversible was about to happen. Your hand involuntarily reached toward one of the frames. It was the face of a small child. Round cheeks, messy hair, eyes closed. As your finger brushed the glass, a warm breath emanated from inside. The glass fogged. And the child opened their eyes. At that moment, the cabin trembled. The notebook on the table slammed shut and fell to the floor on its own. The man leaped up, a mixture of fear and admiration in his eyes. You made your choice, he said. The road is no longer yours alone. From the child's eyes radiated pure light. For the first time in the foggy night, you felt the darkness slightly lift. Yet within that light, there was something else. A danger you had yet to comprehend. Chapter 8. The child's voice. The child's eyes glowed in the darkness. The brightness radiated a light so intense that even the old wooden walls of the cabin seemed to tremble as if alive. At first, the child said nothing, only stared at you. Silence fell like a heavy curtain. Then, a thin voice whispered, not stifling your breath, but close enough to your ear to feel intimate. You've forgotten who you are, haven't you? Your heart raced. Have I forgotten who I am? You asked yourself. But it was true. Ever since stepping into the cabin, you had felt a void. It was as if the journey itself had called you to remember. The child stepped closer. Small hands, yet eyes carrying weight on innocent face. Yet a soul holding thousands of stories. You are a traveler, the child said, but your path is connected not only to your past, but to all that has been lost. Chapter 9. The secret of the road. The child's words made your curiosity deepen. Can you explain that more clearly? You asked. The child nodded with a faint smile. This road, it is a path through time. Every face here is a memory written in the pages of the notebook. Once, you lost something. Someone, a memory, a feeling, and those losses brought you here. The road exists to unite all that has been lost. And the notebook? You asked. The notebook, said the child, was waiting for your choices. Each page holds the story of a traveler, but the one who opens the pages begins their own story as well. Suddenly, the notebook on the table opened by itself. Some pages were blank. Others contained words that awaited your journey. As your eyes focused, you noticed something extraordinary. The writing seemed alive. Every word trembled slightly, moving with your breath. Chapter 10. The first choice. The child approached, hands outstretched, whispering, you must make your first choice. The continuation of your path depends on your courage. You closed your eyes. Two possibilities formed in your mind: to walk alone, seeking the lost pieces of your past. This path is difficult, sometimes lonely and filled with pain, but in the end, you will discover your memories and your reality completely. To awaken one of the faces in the frames and share their memories. This path is dangerous. For awakening, someone will confront you with new secrets. Yet, if you walk together, you can share your losses and unresolved mysteries. As your finger unintentionally touched the child's shoulder, a wave of energy surged. The cabin walls shuddered. The mist inside momentarily receded, revealing a path through the darkness. The child looked at you and smiled. Now it is time for your choice. Whatever path you take, those who await are ready. But beware. Once you choose, there is no turning back. Chapter She, Companions of the Road. You had made your choice. You would awaken one of the faces in the frames, the moment your finger touched the child's shoulder. The fog inside the cabin thinned, though the walls still seemed alive. The cobwebs quivered, as if stirred by an unseen breeze. The child's eyes gleamed. If you're ready, you will see them. But remember, every face is a memory, and every memory holds a secret. You must accept them all. At that moment, one of the frames trembled. Not any other frame, the one immediately to your right. Inside, it was the face of a middle-aged man, his beard darkened, hair unkempt. His eyes were closed, but as you reached out to awaken him, a shiver spread through the room. It was as if millions of tiny waves traveled through you, straight to your heart, and the man's eyes opened. His first gaze startled you. Familiar, yet foreign. You, he said in a hoarse voice. Do you remember me? Before you could answer, another frame quivered. This time, a little girl emerged from it. Her hair was wavy, her eyes filled with both fear and hope. There was silence inside, yet you could hear it clearly. Each one was waiting for you. You looked at the child. Who are they? They said. The child. Are the lost fragments. Your past, forgotten memories, emotions you have repressed or failed to remember. If you connect with them, you will see the true meaning of your journey. But beware, some secrets may disturb you. Some will test you. Chapter 12. The First Bond. The middle-aged man stepped forward. His footsteps echoed on the dusty wooden floor of the cabin. At first, he seemed friendly, but in the depths of his eyes, there was a pain that had been suppressed for years, yet still felt fresh. I remember, he said. I remember you, but you have forgotten. That moment, those days. As he approached, he produced a small book from his pocket. Its cover was dusty, yet it had a texture similar to your own notebook. He handed it to you. If you open this, you will relive those moments. The child's gaze warned you. Do not touch it before making your choice. But curiosity outweighed caution. You opened the book. On the first page was your own name. Beneath it, a small sentence. When you remember, the road will never abandon you. And at that moment, the walls of the cabin began to shift slowly. The frames opened one by one, revealing new faces inside. Each face was connected to you at a different age, a different period. Some were sorrowful, some angry, some silent. Yet all of them were waiting for you. You had to choose one, but each had its own story. If you chose one, the others would remain silent. But if you chose, the journey would be shared. Chapter 13. The Path of Memories. The little girl approached you. When she extended her hand and made first contact, you felt a warmth in your heart. But this warmth was not peace. It was a complex sensation, a memory both sweet and painful. Your eyes clouded as a scene suddenly emerged in your mind, a moment lost from your childhood, or a secret you had forgotten, as if it had happened years ago. Yet you were reliving it in full emotion now. Do you remember me? The girl said, her eyes brimming with tears. You lost me, but now you have returned. A weight settled inside you. Remembering, it was both sweet and painful, but you realized that this journey was not just about seeing the past. It was about piecing together the fragments of it. The man stepped closer, and now, you will make a choice. Who will you take with you? The little girl, the middle-aged man, or another face emerging from a frame? The tension you felt as you made your choice had become the only sound breaking the cabin's silence. Chapter 14. Beyond the door. The door loomed behind you, and the face you had chosen with the child like a heavy shadow. The other faces emerging from the frames watched silently, some with curiosity, some with fear, and some with a wary patience. The child whispered, "To step outside. That's where the real journey begins. But remember, the outside world is different from here. Time flows there, yet here it stands still. As you move forward, the fragments of your past will come with you." You took a step. As you reached the threshold, you realized that the fog outside also held surprises. The steps stretched out like a white carpet shimmering under the moonlight. Yet this whiteness was deceptive. As you approached, a faint tremor under the ground made you feel as if something beneath the earth was watching you. The child took your hand, and you began to walk. The face you had chosen, middle-aged man or little girl, had not yet taken a step, but the child's gaze gave you courage. Every step will connect you with a loss. If you do not take the first step, nothing will move forward. Chapter 15. Whispers of the path. The road soon narrowed into a trail. The stones along its edges glimmered dimly in the moonlight. Silence enveloped you, almost as if it had weight. With every step, the stones trembled slightly, and the leaves whispered. And then you realized, the trail was speaking. "We've been waiting for you," said one of the stones. "You must remember the past. Otherwise, the path will remain unfinished." You paused. Your heart raced, your breath uneven. You looked at the child. They nodded silently. "Go on," you continued. The trail grew darker and more twisted. Sometimes the fog blocked the moonlight, other times it illuminated the path ahead. Yet you could not stop. You instinctively knew this journey was a test of your emotional and spiritual self. Chapter 16. The First Memories. Doni. An opening appeared in the middle of the trail. The ground was firm, but in the center stood an old well. Stones, moss, and small flowers surrounded it. The child's gaze became serious. "This is the first memory? The first loss you need to remember is hidden here." Peering into the well, a scene from your past unfolded. Your first loss. A memory you wished to forget, yet one that still left its mark. Your eyes welled up, your breath caught. A soft voice whispered, "You do not have to remember, but if you do, you will see the next step." You made your choice. You would accept the memory. And in that moment, a faint light rose from the well, as if the fragments of the past were being called to reunite. Chapter 17. The Lost Faces. As the light from the well illuminated the trail, the faces you had awakened from the frames appeared silently around you. Each seemed taken from a different age, a different story. Yet one thing was common. They were all connected to you. First, the little girl stepped forward. She extended her hand, a mixture of curiosity and fear on her face. "Do you remember me?" she asked. You nodded. A faint smile crossed your lips, though your eyes were wet. A lost moment from childhood had been brought back to life in an instant. Then the middle-aged man walked forward. His feet touched the stone path, leaving silent shadows behind. "Do you remember that day?" he asked in a hoarse voice. That day. A scene you had long tried to forget appeared in your mind, but this time it was different. Remembering was not about reliving the pain. It was about accepting it. The little girl and the middle-aged man extended their hands. When your hand touched theirs, a tingling sensation spread through you. Yet there was also weight. Long suppressed emotions suddenly freed. Chapter 18. Path of Lost Memories. The child looked at you and whispered, "Now, you will share a memory with each face. Every lost fragment is here. If you can connect with them properly, the path will be complete." You started with the little girl. Closing your eyes, a scene unfolded. A garden from your childhood. standing alone beside a lost toy. It was bittersweet. Recalling it brought both pain and relief. Next, you stood by the middle-aged man. A different scene emerged. A mistake from your youth, losing a friend, and the regret you felt that day. Every detail replayed vividly, emotions intensifying, yet you realized that each memory was preparing you for a stronger journey. When you opened your eyes, every face looked at you. But you were no longer alone. You were now sharing a journey. Chapter 19. Through the fog, the trail gradually transformed into a dark forest. The tree trunks were tall, their branches like fingers reaching toward the sky. The fog had thickened, yet the faces' light made the path visible. The child whispered, "This is the deepest part of your past. If you pass through, the lost fragments will unite. But remember, some fragments will test you. Your choices cannot be undone." The first trial appeared before an old bridge. The wooden planks were sagging, cracked, and a deep void stretched beneath. One small mistake, and you would fall. But the faces gave courage. Following them, you crossed to the other side. Standing in the middle of the bridge, you looked down. In the depth of the void, silhouettes of your past emerged. Losses, fears, suppressed emotions. All appeared before you at once. But you were no longer alone. The faces and the child stood by your side. Chapter 20. The first union and the other side of the bridge. Each face stepped forward and breathed in unison with you. You joined hands. The little girl, the middle-aged man, and the child held yours firmly. And in that moment, the trail filled with light. The fog lifted. Shadows began to dissipate. A warmth rose in your heart. The lost fragments were coming together. Yet this was only the beginning. The journey was still ongoing. The child whispered, "Now, the greatest secret awaits you. The final test of the path lies deep within your heart." Chapter 21. The depths of the heart. The trail was swallowed by darkness. Only the light of the child and the faces you had awakened guided your way. Each step echoed in the silence. The sound of your heels striking the ground seemed to synchronize with your heartbeat. The child approached you, their eyes as deep as the emptiness you felt within. Now they whispered, "The final test of the path. The lost fragments will unite, but first, you must confront yourself." You paused. "Confront myself?" you asked. The child nodded. "Yes. All losses, all the pain and memories you've suppressed, they're all here. If you accept them, the path will be complete. But remembering and accepting requires courage." Your heart raced. A faint whisper came through the fog. "Are you ready? There is no escape, no turning back." Chapter 22. The first confrontation. The little girl stepped forward. You took her hand. Suddenly, a scene erupted in your mind. A moment lost in your childhood. A toy, a friend, a memory you tried to forget, yet one that lingered in a corner of your mind. Tears filled your eyes. It wasn't just remembering. Feeling the emotions again shook you. As you held the little girl's hand, the scene gradually shifted. You were no longer alone. A presence was there to share this loss with you. Then the middle-aged man stepped forward. "Are you ready to face me?" he asked. Another scene emerged in your mind. A youthful mistake, a loss, perhaps some regret. Every detail, every emotion was relived, but this time you were not alone. The man was there, standing beside you. The memory no longer frightened you, it empowered you. Chapter 23. The light within the darkness. The trail stretched into the forest's depths. Trees seemed to dance with their own shadows. The path was narrow, strewn with stones, and you could feel your heartbeat with every step. Then you realized the shadows were not merely darkness. They represented your forgotten memories. Each one a memory, an emotion, some painful, some sweet. The child whispered, "It takes courage to touch every shadow. But remember, each shadow is a part of you." The little girl and the middle-aged man walked with you into the shadows. One approached you, As you reached out, you felt it a warmth, a sense of past emotions, and at that moment, you sensed the lost fragments beginning to unite. A clearing gradually appeared within the fog. Light seemed to fill the emptiness inside you. Every step made you feel lighter, more complete. Chapter 24. The final trial at the end of the path. A massive shadow emerged, darker, heavier, and denser than anything you had ever seen. Within it lay thousands of memories, losses, and suppressed emotions. The child looked at you. Here is the final trial. If you pass through, the journey will be complete. But if you falter, the lost fragments will never reunite. Fear and curiosity rose together. The little girl and the middle-aged man were by your side. You were no longer alone, yet the enormity of the trial filled you with deep silence. You took a deep breath. Walking through the fog, each step shattered the shadow. Memories and losses merged into a light. The little girl and the man walked in rhythm with you. Each breath, each step created a unified strength, and in that moment, you realized the lost fragments were not just within you, they were with you. Chapter 25. Completion of the path. As you took the final step, the shadow completely dissolved. The trail was now filled with light. Every shadow, every loss, every memory had united into a single whole. The child looked at you. Congratulations. The journey is complete. The lost fragments have reunited. Both your past and present are whole. The little girl and the middle-aged man slowly faded, leaving warmth and strength within you. The notebook returned to the table, its cover closed, but still radiating light. You stood up. You were no longer alone. The journey was complete, and the emptiness inside you was filled. Every loss, every pain, every memory had strengthened you. The trail transformed into a path of light reaching toward the sky. A new horizon lay ahead. You could now walk without fear, and the story ended with you. The lost fragments reunited. The path was complete, and you were whole.